Hey, welcome to Bout That Life Podcast. I'm Coach C.Collins.
Coach MJ, GGT.
And we are here to talk AAU, life, and everything in between. We're here on episode 10, right?
Hey.
So that's a good milestone for us. We hit the double digits.
A decade.
Right? We could not film last week just due to scheduling stuff, but, you know, we got back to it this week. We're going to keep trying to give you guys consistent and good content, right? Because I know, for one, my mom always loves hearing our episodes every week. I think all our parents do. And I'm hearing more and more people like to hear the show and just want to see the consistency. Was even told Mike Wall at Folsom High School listens to my show. So,
Okay.
you know, even high school coaches are catching it a little bit. Coach Fred from Intercom.
Yeah. No,
right?
I've gotten people telling me that they've been watching, that they be looking for certain parts of the show to listen to.
Yeah. Of course.
You know,
of course.
we got people listening.
So and that's really what it's all about. We just want to have a place to vent, talk, and have some fun, and just get some things out there. So, you know, for those who are supporting, hitting the like button on YouTube, you know, supporting the social media, supporting the audio platforms, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, hitting that follow button. You guys, again, I can't repeat it enough. One small click for you is a big help for us. So for those who keep downloading and listening and supporting, we really, really do appreciate you, because we try to put a lot of effort into what we're doing out here. Again, the biggest thing I want to reiterate is, if you want to be on the show, please feel free to hit me up on my IG, HoopstarIM, or you can go to Mark's IG, GGT, or you can hit up on the Bout That Life Instagram. I know I've got a few more coaches that have hit me up. I know you said you got a buddy that's hit you up. We'd love to have you on the show, hear your perspective. We want to hear everybody's story and everybody's experience, whether it be good or bad. Just step on the show whenever you get a chance. We're always here for you. Today, we have a guest. Her name is Evelyn Hernandez. I want to make sure I say that right. So she's our first mom, right? That's another good milestone. She's our first mom, and she has 3 daughters. All 3 play basketball and are involved in AAU. Let me give you a quick rundown of who she is and her perspective before, you know, she really steps on the scene. She's originally from South and West Side Chicago, right?
Hey.
So, Chi-town.
Exactly.
Chi-town.
And that's where I went to college, so, you know, I feel you on that one. So much respect. She played basketball herself. You said you didn't start playing competitive basketball until high school, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How was that experience overall? Okay.
Great.
Okay. Okay. She's sent in high school in Florida as well, where you ran track.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Received a D1 scholarship.
Yes.
At Stetson
University.
Stetson University.
Nice.
But decided to pursue track, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Attended Florida International, and that's where you met your kid's father.
Correct.
Right? Okay, perfect. Right now, currently, she's a real estate broker with 20 years of experience. So, you know, if any of you guys are looking for a house, she got you.
Hey.
Yeah.
And she's also in her last year of law school.
Correct.
Wow.
Right, so she's gonna be a real estate agent and a lawyer.
Wow,
So there you
okay.
go. Make it happen.
I like that.
But black girl magic, right?
Let's get it.
Hey. Black girl / mixed girl.
Oh, mixed girl. My bad. So she also has her own company that it's called Essence Meets Hustle, right? Which is a
Yes.
clothing brand and a lifestyle brand, correct?
Nice.
Okay, we'll probably talk more about that in the show. As I said before, she's a mother of 3 athletes, 3
Hoopers.
Hoopers, yeah,
Hey.
female hoopers, Nadia, Nia, and Naomi. So big shout out to you girls if you listening to this. You know, as I enjoy having your mom on the show. Nadia and Nia are going to be the main topics because of where they're at currently and what they've done in their past. They both played AAU, went to Antelope High School, and then transferred to West Campus.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. They won state twice.
That
correct.
is right. 2
And
times.
2 times.
Ooh.
They're 2
Back
times.
to back?
Yeah.
Back to
For
back.
West
Okay,
Campus.
okay.
2-time state champions, which is obviously a really big deal because
That is.
there's a lot of people who play high school, not a lot of people win state. So
Correct.
I don't care what level it is. It's hard to win state.
They did it
Yes.
back to back, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to back.
And then, and you said that, I remember, well, before we started recording, you said they won middle school too, right?
They did. They won their middle school championship. You know, that's a big deal when we got to play Sutter. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But we
Oh.
did. They went to Didion. Shout out to Didion.
Okay. Nice. We said they got D1 scholarships.
Yes.
Which college again?
The first time around was Cal State University Bakersfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were out in Bakersfield. That's where my grandpa is. Shout out to you, Grandpa. They later transferred to Diablo Valley this past year, right?
Yes.
UPC College. And then you said Nadia is attending Sac State next year, right?
in the spring.
Okay. And
Attending
then
Sac State.
Nia ended up with a D1 scholarship
Yes.
to UNLV,
To
correct?
UNLV. She's at UNLV.
Running Rebels.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Nice.
Okay.
So, and, fortunate for them, they're going to have a season this year, it looks
Yes.
like. When's that start? November
25th.
25th. Okay, cool. And then the youngest one, Naomi, who is a 6'7" grader,
That is correct.
Oh, my
which
gosh.
is ridiculous right now, right?
Super lengthy.
Her AAU is the Stockton Mustangs, right? What's her coach name?
Coach K.
Coach K. Okay. I still think she would look good in the YBA jersey.
Hey.
So, any day you want to make that move to South Beach,
Little
let me know.
transition.
Yeah, let me know. Or she can play for both. I don't care. I do
okay.
not care. And big ups for you for finishing your law degree. I hope that works
Thank
out for you.
Appreciate that.
Obviously, I've known you a while and watched you work your ass off to try to make that happen. So,
Yes.
Most
Definitely.
more power to you. Without further ado, let's introduce Miss Hernandez to the show.
Hey. Fake claps.
Welcome to the show.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's get right to it. All right. Let's talk about your AAU life, because obviously that's the main emphasis of the show. But obviously you're going to be talking more of the perspective of that mother, single mother taking care of these girls, trying to navigate this field. Obviously, there's a little more crazy, and I would say some more dirtiness on the men's side, but there is a level of that on the girls' side as
Absolutely.
well. Obviously a lot of positive, but a lot of negative as well. The progression of your girls in AAU, in the AAU scene, it's always interesting for me with girls basketball. If you go back to episode 2 when we were talking to Ted about it, he was speaking from the perspective of a male coach, a male college coach, talking about it. I really want to get into not only a mother but a parent's perspective for that. I feel with girls there's just some different intangibles. Like, for one, they just quit out of nowhere. It matters who they play with. They have to like who they play with, where I would say for boys that really doesn't matter as much. There's like, can you hoop? Yeah, okay, let's get on the court and hoop. Sometimes it's the pressure, right? Sometimes it could be a boy, straight up, boyfriend or someone, they like, that's pulling them kind of away. Sometimes they just plain lose interest. So for you as a mom, what have you done to keep your daughters motivated? And you could speak to Naomi as well, but I'm talking mainly for your older ones. How did you keep them motivated from their youth all the way through high school? Why didn't they fall into one of those traps? What did you do as a mom?
First and foremost, I got to shout out their dad, because although I'm a single mom, I wasn't a single parent.
Nice.
Their dad is an integral part in their success. It was definitely like a team effort, and that made all the world a difference. But from day one, we allowed the girls to play whatever sport they showed interest in. We were just happy that they wanted to play sports. We're like, yes, okay.
Right.
And then, of course, we loved the fact that they gravitated towards the same sport that we loved. And that was the sport we knew, that we know best. So it was like, okay, they like a sport that we know. Okay,
Right,
we can do this.
Did their father background with basketball?
Yeah.
As well? Okay.
Yeah, he went to
okay.
Kennedy High School, and then
Nice.
he played for JC.
Okay.
And then from there, he got a full ride to
Okay.
FIU.
Nice,
Yeah, most
nice.
definitely.
So 2 athletic parents.
Yes.
Genetics definitely.
That's always that's always
Them
a
genes,
recipe.
You know,
Yeah.
hashtag
Right.
bloodline.
Right.
But yeah, so for us though, from the very beginning, we instilled in the girls like, hey, listen, if you're gonna compete, you need to know that there's no quitting. You know what I mean? We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it to the best of our ability. And that was, we gave them the overall picture. Like, it wasn't just you're gonna get out there, you're gonna shoot 100 shots and make 100 shots. No, you're going to learn the fundamentals of basketball. You're gonna learn everything about the sport, right? You're going to fall in love with the sport. And then also, eating right, going to sleep on time, just everything about sports in general, as well as that AAU life. So that to me was like the ticket, was setting the foundation. Your foundation has to be strong, and so once we set that foundation, when they did have those weak moments, because kids will, you know what I mean? We reminded them like, hey, that we didn't sign up for that. Like, this is what we signed up for. Good, bad, or indifferent. You're going to have your good days. You're going to have your bad days. But overall, this is the end goal. Yep. These are the endless possibilities of where basketball can take you. And for my middle daughter, for Nia, she always wanted to play professional sports. So for her, there wasn't a lot of tugging. It was more so kind of like, because she was the younger sibling, it was kind of like keeping her, like, chill, Nee, and she was just ready, like, Mom, I'm ready. It's like, no, you're not. Like, chill out. Watching her older sister, and then of course they drew energy off one another, so they kind of pushed one another. But I would say that the main ingredient was just instilling those fundamental rules in them, and then of course because I played, their dad played, we knew what it was like on every level. So we prepared them mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally for the good and the bad. You know what I mean? And we reminded them whenever they wanted to throw in the towel, like, nah, we're not turning back. Like, that's not what we do.
Right. I just got chills.
It's a team effort.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, we're in this to the end. And once we realized, once they saw the bigger picture, like, hey, Mom, I can get a D1 scholarship. We can get our school paid for. It's like, yeah. And nowadays they have stipends.
Yeah.
Back in my day, and I'm telling my age, but hey, they didn't have stipends.
Yeah,
you were just lucky to get your books paid for and a meal card.
Right. You're right.
But now they just, sky's the limit for them. And so we really made sure that they were aware of the benefits, but also made sure that they were aware of the grinding process. Yep. That was crucial. The
investment, right?
The investment of it. Yeah, and we told them, listen, you're gonna have your naysayers. You let me handle that. You let your dad handle that. You're gonna have those coaches that I don't want to play for them. Type of deal. You let your dad and I handle that. We'll take care of that. You just do your part. You let your work, when you get on the court, you let it speak for itself, right? You don't give people a reason to doubt your athletic ability or your level of knowledge for the game. You study this to show yourself approved, and that's exactly what the girls did. That's what we instilled in them.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, and that's a great job, and definitely a good point of emphasis that it takes two parents
it does.
to make a lot of this happen.
It does.
Unfortunately, on the flip side of it, we do deal with a lot of, especially in the Black community in general, we do have a lot of single parents out there. But if there's an opportunity for two parents to be involved in a child's development, even outside of sports, that really does make a huge impact.
Yeah, you got to have a commonality. Like, our denominator for us was the success of our daughters. It still is, so we're going to work together regardless if we're together or not. And so once we, showed them that, then they're like, all right, and we never played the field against each other. So it's like, if you come to me crying, like, Dad got on me in the car. It's like, well, how many free throws did you shoot and how many did you miss? Like, for real, though. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get back in there, bro. Like, we got to, and it's like, we're not about to cry about this.
It's always really interesting to me, and Mark, you could probably speak on this too. It's always the parents that are real with the kids. Yep. To me, those are the kids who end up becoming the best players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To me, at least, my experience. It's always the parents that want to, like, give them excuses or, make up whatever.
We're making sure you're staying on her right hand.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Like,
we need you to turn her left knee.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's those type of parents where, unfortunately, those kids don't reach their full potential because you're giving them mental reasons why they shouldn't,
give up.
Instead of just looking at the truth, like, hey, maybe I just suck at layups. Maybe I need to just do mic and drill, right? So,
and respect the coaches. That was big for us, especially, my middle daughter, she's spicy. She got that naturally. And she's just super competitive. They have that naturally. And so it was like teaching them also, like, you're not just playing against the other team, but you got the refs involved, right?
Yeah.
And so also teaching them that level of respect
for
the refs as well, and the coaches, and it's tough.
Yeah, no, I can get it.
Because there's times where I was ready to get on the court, like, can I get a jersey? And you know that one parent that coaches hate, like, if this woman don't sit down,
Yeah.
I even had to learn.
I've
You
had
know,
it,
it was like, and I think that's just the nature of it, though. Like, because you've played, and we were young parents, it was like watching them was like, oh my God, you get so animated, you're ready, you're like you're in the game with them,
No,
you
I
just
get
ain't
it.
on the court,
I
you
totally
know.
get
So it was, now I'm a lot calmer, but
Okay.
you know, back then it was like, no, she didn't. No, you know, like, Nia, what are you doing?
Oh, this is the
Dribble
calm.
in the middle.
This is the calm you.
All right, yeah.
She getting fired up
I
about
am.
it
I'm
right
over
now.
here sweating.
I
I'm about
told
to
you.
toss the pillow.
No, that's great though. That's great. So, well, speaking of Nia, right, with her being at UNLV, it basically looks like she's on track to play pro. You know what I mean, right? Potentially, if everything works out. Obviously, this next year might be a little strange because of COVID and just
Right.
how to maneuver that. But she looks like she is on track to potentially play pro. For you, just as a mom, parent, would you like to see her in the WNBA or overseas or both? Like, you know,
I say both.
okay.
You know, I want my daughter to experience life outside of the United States of America.
All right.
So if she has an opportunity to do that,
Okay.
I would tell her, you know, a heartbeat, like, do both. You know what I
Nice.
mean? And see what you like most, right? And so, yeah, I would say both.
Well, I mean, just listening to everything that you're saying, because, you know, as a trainer, like I always try to say this to my kids too, is, you know, like, you guys have a blueprint. Like, you guys have laid out a blueprint, you know, because there is a certain way to get to the top. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And just listening to you, I mean, I'm assuming they're trying to be at the top. So to me, the top is the WNBA, to where also with the WNBA, it's either playing in China, because I know, of course, that's where the top girls are.
Yeah.
Right.
But we all know there's levels. So just listening, it sounds that you guys basically bred them to be killers. That's what it sounds like. 'Cause like I said, I haven't
Yeah.
seen them in person, but the way you're describing
Yeah,
them
yeah.
and you and your husband's background, like, you guys are invested in this. And so that's one of the things that I always tell, because I have so many parents that come to me as a trainer where they just assume that if they send them to me, the skills
Yeah,
work is
you're
going to,
gonna-
like, wait
No.
a minute, like, what are you guys doing at home first to plant the seeds? You know,
Right.
Because that's what I've noticed with some of my top kids. It's not just the kid who's talented, it's also where they come from, the parents and everything.
Yeah.
'Cause-
What are they doing
Exactly.
outside of the gym?
Yes.
And that's a good point, because honestly, I recall vividly, like, there was times, you know, when I was with their dad, he would, if he had to go to work,
Yeah.
it was like we got a treadmill, we had
Yeah.
a cord, we had all the tools at home. So it was like there really wasn't any downtime.
Yeah.
My kids always tease and they're like, yeah, we like the Jackson 5 over here. We didn't have no childhood. Our childhood was AAU. That's all right though, but you got your school paid for. But and she's telling the truth,
Yeah.
because it was like, you know, I just remember standing at the treadmill like, hey, you better run that mile, you about to
Yeah.
catch this belt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. Like,
Yeah.
it was that
Yeah.
serious
Yeah.
for us, for them, because
Yeah.
we knew they wanted it, but
Exactly.
as parents and them being children, it was like,
Yeah.
hey, you're gonna get a whole lot worse than this.
Yep.
So you might as
Yep.
well catch it from
Exactly.
catch it from your parents. And so we were
Exactly.
making sure that, you know, outside of the gym, they were getting it in
Yeah.
on every level. So
Have to.
that's crucial
Yep.
for sure.
It's a great point. And then, so straight up, as a woman and just your perspective, you know, you got a WNBA game or an NBA game. Which one you watching?
NBA.
Okay.
Was that a question?
Yeah. Well,
No
why,
offense.
why do you think it is? I mean, I actually want to
It
hear this
is.
perspective from a woman, right?
Okay,
Because
fair.
like we go back to episode 2,
Yeah.
if anybody listens, you know where I came from on this. But I would like to hear from a woman's perspective on what do you see the difference with the WNBA? Not just the physical and it's a woman and man, take all that away. Just what gravitates you to the NBA and what kind of not necessarily, I don't want to say doesn't gravitate towards you, but what would pull you more to watch an NBA game than watch a WNBA game?
You know what? I give props and honor to whom honors due. You know what I mean? Basketball, it's a male sport. You know, that's where it derived from. It wasn't a woman's game. And the tenacity and the aggression, to me, is a lot higher when you're watching men play. So why not watch, you know, and learn from those that, in my opinion, play the game better. And I'm a woman and I've played and my daughters play. That's not to say that women aren't capable of playing on a professional level. It's just me personally, my preference is to watch the NBA.
Right.
All day, every day.
But you would support the WNBA.
Yeah, I would definitely
just
support
like I
the
would.
women's
I support
NBA.
the WNBA.
Yeah, absolutely, I would. But
when the Monarchs were here, I actually went to games
and I
and
actually
stuff.
trained with Ruthie. So I mean, you know, when she was here, and I have a lot of respect for them. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, there's history behind the NBA, right? There's a culture behind the NBA. Not to say there's not with the women's NBA, but it's still fairly new.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? So, and not only that, I think that the demographic, the audience for the NBA is a lot more versatile than the women's NBA. And as a mom, that's what I'm looking at too.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm gonna watch the game, I'm gonna watch something where there's just it's everybody, right? It's not just one demographic or one culture or one population of people.
Yeah.
And I don't want my daughters to think that, you know, this is the only type of person that plays professional basketball.
Right.
You know, no offense.
But I'm guessing
that's
you're
real.
speaking more towards like the LGBT
Yeah,
type stuff and all that.
don't
Yeah, I get
no
what you're
qualms
saying.
with them. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
as a mom and, you know, having played and have a great love and respect for the sport, I just think that it's imperative that people understand the history and the culture behind basketball.
Okay.
Period.
No,
You know?
sounds good. Well, for me, I've seen you. You know, I've known you a while now, and I mean, we've known each other kind of just through Hardwood and AAU and stuff like that. And I've seen you really active in all your daughters' lives in terms of for basketball. I see you, you know, when you've gone to Bakersfield and
All the
took
time,
pictures and go to their games and, you know, be here at Hardwood with your youngest daughter. You as a mom really seem to be in their corner. But are there things you've learned through the AAU process from your older girls that you now would navigate and are learning to maneuver with your youngest? You know what I mean? Are there things and steps you've learned along the way?
Absolutely. I should write a tutorial. I should write a book. I'm working on it. Absolutely. So, you know, one of the things that I've learned with having put Nadia and Nia through AAU was that I think that they could have waited a little bit longer. You know what I mean? I think that building their skill, you know, the dribbling with the left, dribbling with the right, breaking the press, you know, knowing how to effectively play defense, angles, the timing, how many seconds do I pass, do I shoot type of deal, you know, everything, rebounding. And we're a big rebounding family, y'all, just saying. Guards do rebound.
Okay,
you know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't care if you're the point guard, get your ass in there.
That's
but
good.
I think that for us, you know, now that we, you know, the girls are a lot older and now Naomi's in it, you know, we're really big on allowing her to perfect her craft, right? To train on those things and also to learn them from a mental perspective, right? And if you just jump into AAU or you've played rec ball, now you're going to AAU and now you're competing with kids who probably have done it the opposite way, your kid can get discouraged very easy, right? Their confidence level will go down. So one thing that I've learned is just taking your time with the process and building those fundamentals, building that foundation solid enough to where when you do go play AAU, you know, you're competing with the best of the best, right? And so you want to stand out. And so I think that's definitely something that we're now doing with Naomi that we didn't necessarily do in that order with Nadia and Nia.
Okay, nice. And then, you know, I really like legitimately how you opened up. And maybe I'm just biased because I'm a father, but, you know, we're all fathers in here. Besides, but no, I like how you really gave him the respect he's due. You could tell there's a lot of respect between you two.
I got a lot of respect for Lee. He's a great father.
No, and that's great.
Couldn't ask for a better
I want to talk about that more. I want to, you know, I definitely want to elaborate on that more. So, as co-parents, you know what I mean. How has that shaped or helped the success, do you think? I mean,
of the girls?
Yeah, of the girls and everything.
My goodness. Well, you know, the girls were in middle school when their dad and I split, and that was a very traumatic experience for everyone involved, especially the girls. You know, they were at the kind of, I wouldn't say the peak of their career, but they're just now transitioning, right? They're hitting puberty. They're starting to think boys are cute, you know, it's high school time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got to split my household, you know, so it was tough for them, but I think for Lee and I, one thing we agreed upon, and we were friends. So, I met him when I was 19 years old. So it was like, I knew him before I knew him. And you get what I mean? So, so that was a big factor. But, we always had that level of respect. Good. I mean, we've disagreed, don't get me wrong, or he'll call me like, oh my God, Ev, you won't believe this. It's like, you're overreacting, bro. And he's like, no, you're not. Right. I mean, don't get it twisted. Like, we've had our heated conversations and our debates on, what the girl should have done or shouldn't have done. But at the end of the day, like I said before, the common denominators are daughters. It's the success of our daughters. And so if they see us bickering, you know what I mean? What is that showing them? You know what I'm saying? On every aspect of life, not just playing sports, but just being a person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we've always had that commonality where it's like, we want to see our daughters go to as far as they can go, and having respect. You could disagree with someone and still respect that person.
Absolutely.
And me personally, the way I was raised and the values and the morals in my family, and I'm the only girl with all brothers, and so like growing up in a household of strong men and being a mixed girl was like, I didn't see disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe in disrespect. Although respect is earned, I still don't believe in disrespect. And so it was very important for me to show my daughters that love or respect for their father. Rather, I agreed or disagreed. So he and I, like I said, we don't always agree. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make sure that our daughters saw that they're the common denominator. Their success is what we care about more than anything. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about who you seeing or I'm seeing. There's no time for that. Right. It's all about them. So
that's great.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So having their dad had definitely helped. And having their dad,
you gotta have their dad. You gotta have their. Listen, there are things that a father can teach a daughter that a mother can't. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from personal experience. So I don't want my struggle to be their struggle. Right. If they could alleviate some of that struggle by having their dad, why not? You know what I'm saying? So no matter what, at the end of the day, like I tell this to all the ladies, like, look, it's not about you. You know what I mean? It's what's best for your child, what's best for especially for girls. Like, they need their dad. Their dad be putting them up on game. Like, you know what I mean? And their dad was Pretty Boy Floyd, so you already know. But yeah, I'm like, hey, you need to teach your daughter some of that because we know you got that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and he did, and good. He still does, and I'm thankful. Great. I'm grateful for that. Yeah. So I want my daughters to be like, yeah, no, mom, I'm gonna call dad. Yeah, go ahead, call your dad. And I ask him, what your dad say? And he'll ask them, what your mom say? Yeah, that sounds about right. Right. Even if we disagree, we'll call each other on the line. You know that wasn't right.
No, I mean, but that's, to me, I think there's just points to, for me, the big reason I wanted to hear that kind of stuff.
And it's spiritual.
From you. Well, yes. Well, I wanted to hear that stuff from you because, again, I think more moms sometimes need to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's just
gotta let the man take the lead.
If we're talking culturally, you know what I mean? People could look the numbers up themselves. The black community has a very big disproportionate of single family homes. It just is a fact. Mm-hmm. So a part of breaking that cycle is having these tough conversations, right? And saying these things that kind of need to be said, and it's great to hear a mom say, yeah, my daughters are doing extremely well and successful, but the dad was a huge part of that.
Yeah. And I've had this conversation with a lot of moms,
I'm glad.
With a lot of my friends, other single moms or whatnot, and I'll probably, get bashed for it, but it's all good because I'm going to stick to what I know. These are my morals. These are my values, and I've seen it. I've tested. I've tried it, and it works. Nice. You know what I'm saying? So if it didn't work, that'd be something different, but it's just who I am. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, like sometimes things don't work out, but it's first spiritual, right? Yeah. And so I want my daughters to understand that you need to have a strong male presence in your life, right? And so I want them to have that engagement with their dad because eventually, they're going to go off and they're going to marry, right? Yeah. You're hoping that they marry somebody that with a sound mind and that's respectful and that's going to treat them as such and vice versa. So it's very important that, women allow men to take the lead. Now, obviously, there are occasions where, you know, it might not be to the best interest of the child at that moment, because I'm big on second chances. So, but at the end of the day, I think that it's very important. You know, it's very important for us women, and especially women of color,
Very cool.
to be respectful of what's real.
Right.
Right? It's man first. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, I appreciate
Don't fight
that.
it.
No, the current culture of AAU, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, navigating it with coaches, trainers, you know, how has that process been for you? Like how is you know, I'm just saying, like have coaches slid into the DM sometimes and you know shoot their shot and things like that. I'm just saying.
I'm really sweating now. Where's my water at? Where's the water at? No, for real though. Where did the water go?
They're like, you know.
Did I hide it?
Oh, I don't know. You had use your
my
water.
God, it's hot.
Oh my goodness.
that was a loaded question, y'all.
No, I'm just saying, like,
got me over here.
you got you got, you know,
Melting.
single mom, you know, with the girls. I'm sure coaches noticed and was like, hey, what's going on?
You know what's funny though, because people they affiliate Lee and I still together because we go to all the games.
Okay.
You know, but now they don't. But like during that transitional moment, they're like, that's Lee's wife, you know, and Lee's like, that's not my wife. And, oh, that's not your wife.
Oh, so
or vice versa. Because let me tell you something, women be on it too.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? They were waiting. They were waiting at the back door like,
All
you know, but it's all good. So yeah, I mean, it's happened, you know what I mean? But it's up to the individual whether or not they're going to entertain it. And I'm all business.
Okay.
That's one thing about me. Like, my yay is yay and my nay is nay. I'm a real one, for real.
Hey.
And so for me, it's like, you know, I don't ever want to do anything that's going to be disrespectful to my daughters, to the game, to myself, to their dad. You know, I don't want no shadiness. You know what I mean? I don't want no one ever to be like, oh, she's dating the coach, so that's why she's playing. Nah, she's playing because she's the best point guard. You know what I mean? She's playing because she's bored and she's in there and she's a beast. She's a dog. That's what I want. I don't ever want no shadiness. So to answer your question, yes, they have. I don't.
But you didn't
snitches
entertain
get
it.
stitches,
Okay,
Chris.
all right,
I ain't throwing nobody under the bus.
Please don't.
But,
We don't have to do all that. But it has happened.
It has happened.
Okay.
Yes, it happens.
So how you watched your girls win back-to-back state titles? What was that like?
That was great. And my daughter Nadia, she was a senior, her senior year, so that was awesome. Shout out to Coach Langston and the West Campus crew out there.
What year was this?
Oh gosh, my math is horrible. Let's see. Nadia, they won 2018.
Nice. Okay.
They were Division 4 at that time. And then in 2000, was it 2017 or 18? I'm tripping. It might be 17, 18.
Back to back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then when Nia won, that was a highlight 'cause she won without her sister. Because see, their first year they won, they were loaded.
Yeah.
You know, West Campus was loaded.
Yeah.
They had Kiara. They had my two girls. They had I can't even remember the young lady's name, but nevertheless, they were loaded.
Yeah.
You know, they were so loaded, it was like, dang, they could have started anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then my girls were coming from Antelope, so it was like trying to fit into a new, you know, coaching system and play. And then that last year, Nia's senior year, she told me, she's like, Mom, I'm gonna win state.
Ooh.
And so once she told me that, I, as a parent and her dad, we were like, yeah, she's going to win state. What are we going to do to help you win state? Right? Yeah. We're going to do everything we can to support you to make sure that happens and we were all in for her. So we were making sure my daughter was putting in shots, truth be told, after practice.
Really?
You know what I mean? She was a dog. My daughter was playing like she was playing in a game in practice.
Ooh,
you know what I mean? And I'm thankful she didn't get hurt because she be scaring me. She's so crafty. I'd be like, oh, you know, like, oh, neat. You know what I mean? But yeah, her senior year, she won without her sister. And they were D3.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because the first year they won, I felt like the competition was harder. And then Nia's senior year, she just made it look so easy, so effortless, you know.
Huh?
She was so ready and you could see it in her, you know. It was just, it's exhilarating, you know. You get chills when you see somebody that really just they're a dog. You're like, that's what I'm talking talking about.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, D.
And they put in the work.
Get you 15 boards, boo.
Damn.
Especially,
That's what it's about.
especially when it's your own child, so that's even
Yeah,
more
you know what I
exciting.
mean? And you know, I was that mom, like, that's mine right there.
Yeah, of course, of course.
At the scoreboard, the man was like, you can't comment.
Right,
I keep
exactly.
scoring. This
Yes.
is not the day.
Well, then, what's the end game goals? I mean, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what would you like to see? You know, not only for your own business and obviously being a lawyer, your real estate companies, you know, all that good stuff, and for your daughters. I mean, ultimately, at that point, they're going to be grown, even more grown than they already are. But you know, 5 years, 10 years from now, what would you like to see?
Ooh, that's a great question. So for the girls, I'm gonna do them individually. So for Nia, I would definitely like to see her live out her dreams, play professional ball. She mentioned that she wants to use basketball as a platform to do some sports broadcasting and whatnot. So
Nice. Smart.
I'm looking forward to that. Right. And then she always tells me, she's actually been telling me this for a minute. Every time we walked into Dick's Sporting Goods, she was like, you know what? You see Skylar Diggins, Mom? That's going to be me. My face is going to be on Nike. I'm like, that's right, boo. That's right. So I would like to see that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just because this is her dream. I want to see her fulfill her dream.
Of course.
Absolutely finish her degree. She has her AA, so I'm super proud of my daughter. She has a 3.9 GPA. I could not ask for anything better than that. You know what I mean? It's not, and I always tell my girls this, it's not just about beauty. Beauty is so much, it's deeper than this, right? Because at any moment this can go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what's on the inside is everlasting. So I want to see her finish school strong, and then see her play professional. And then my middle daughter, she's gonna be attending Sac State. She's not sure. She's on the fence about basketball right now, and that's good. I'm good with that. She's like she has one more year, so I want to see her finish school. And she's on the line, and she wants to go to Atlanta for her master's degree. So I'm looking forward to that. She's very headstrong, started her own business, so she's doing really well. Wow. My youngest daughter, Naomi, she's just like, I'm going to Stanford, Mom. So she's said that for like about a year now. So I want to see her just elevate as a player, elevate as a person, as a young lady. You know what I mean? Just be strong. Don't get caught up in the social media hype. And it's tough, you know, when you have daughters, and then me, I'm spicy. I ain't gonna lie. But I still want I want all my daughters to be just classy young women.
Nice.
You know what I mean? To grow up and have a sophistication, be women of substance. You know, that's really the end goal as a mom, as a woman. As far as me personally, 5 years, 10 years from now, my goal is to open up a legal clinic in 2021, so that I'm able to help those that are less fortunate, that don't necessarily have the fortitude or the education to file paperwork, you know. And so my emphasis is going to be in real estate law and criminal law. So I'm really excited about that, and that's going to be under Essence Beats Hustle, which is my lifestyle clothing brand that I just started. And it's a process, but yeah, that's the end goal for me.
And I can definitely see that happening for you.
5 years. Oh, let me put this out there in the universe, and probably be married again. Oh, maybe. Married. Okay.
All right.
Right. Well, I'm so old school though.
That's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. Well, shit, let's switch gears and talk about the NBA, right?
Yeah.
Let's get to it. I mean, there's obviously quite a few storylines going on, but clearly the biggest story right now is what the fuck, Clippers? Because that's all I can say.
They're cursed. They're called the Clippers for a reason.
I know.
They're cursed.
There's a reason my podcast is explicit, and this episode will say it right here. What the fuck, Clippers? And the crazy part is, because I went back to like episode 3 or 4. Remember when I was talking about Denver?
Yeah.
Remember I said I like how they're trying things and how they're experimenting with Boa, and I said that team makes me a little nervous. I did chose the Clippers, so they got me looking like a jackass right now. But I was like, Denver makes me nervous. Remember I said that?
Yeah.
And sure as hell enough, Denver fucking.
That was crazy.
I said the Nuggets make me a little nervous because teams that experiment typically means when they're in desperation mode, they're just gonna try shit. Yeah. And of course, who would have thought Murray's gonna drop 41 in games? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no, you don't know this, but teams that break tradition with the exception of the Rockets, I just didn't think what they could do could work at all because it was so non-traditional that it looked borderline crazy. I'm gonna have a 6'5" center. That's no. But what they were doing with experimenting with their different parts and getting different guys' looks, it just, man, it made me nervous, bro. And it's so much shit work.
I mean, a lot of it too is, at the end of the day, yes, give Denver their props. They came back from 2-3-1 deficits, Utah series, and then the Clippers. But to me, at the end of the day, the Clippers choke. Like you can't be. I think Kawhi.
That's the difference between Kobe Bryant. I'm just saying.
And
the Michael Jordans, right?
You can't be Kawhi and PG can't go 9 for 22 together,
bro,
in a closeout game. And Murray drops 40. He outscores both of y'all. So, and like I said, I feel like the whole season the Clippers were playing with. They just seem arrogant. They seem like they were supposed to
complacent.
And of course they couldn't even get to my Lakers, which we about to sweep Denver. We about to sweep.
But be real. And I believe, even as a Lakers fan, I even think most Lakers fans wanted a Clippers-Lakers Western Conference Finals.
To validate it more.
They wanted that final. Not to take nothing away from the Nuggets, but I think that was the finals people, or Western Conference Finals people wanted to see.
That was the finals if that would have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Clippers couldn't even get to that point.
Right.
So, that,
And the cool part is, because, again, there's been a million analysis talking about it. I'm not going to get way into that because we got way more stuff to talk about, obviously. But is there blame on Doc Rivers? Yes. Is there blame on Kawhi Leonard? Yes. But the biggest to me, and I'm sorry, is PG, Paul George. I mean, bro, I was watching so many memes, so much. They said, because of course Paul George called himself Playoff P, and then they started making fun of his name and stuff. They were like rated PG-13, and they were like playoff something, and it was just his social media's got to be turned off by now. It's got to be.
To me, it kind of also shows, like take the funny stuff aside, like especially what I would teach to my younger players. Even the top players in the world can go through it mentally. Because to me, that's what it was during the whole playoffs.
Yes.
Like, somebody that caliber is going through a series where he can't make a shot where, remember, at the end of the day, a lot of those guys, this is what they do for their lives. Yeah. They shoot, they train.
They're paid to be great.
But to be at this moment where you see somebody who has high expectations still crumble, and then, of course, I got to talk to a younger kid like that. Like, that just shows how much mentally the mind is so powerful. Because you would think that you guys are the best in the world. Why are you playing like this? And that just kind of shows that nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? As an athlete.
Right.
So,
absolutely right.
Unless they're Kobe or Jordan.
Well, gosh. But
even Kobe. Like,
true that.
If you watch a lot of his documentaries where he speaks about his mental and what he did to overcome that. Yeah. It's like it explains why he is
who he is.
Legendary status. Yeah. I mean, the fun fact with them, for those who might be watching or listening, they basically gave up everything to get Paul George. I mean, y'all, if you research it yourself, the deal OKC got, they definitely solidified their future. Let's put it like that.
Yep.
Where they're at now, where OKC is, they're in this weird in-between spot. Shout out to Chris Paul because he obviously did an amazing job with that group, but they are looking good in the future. The Clippers cannot draft anyone until 2027. What does that mean? So you guys understand? That means the sixth grade class right now, the AAU sixth graders will be the class that the Clippers get to pick.
That's crazy.
So if you got some sixth graders out there, the Clippers will be looking for you in a few years.
They might not even be called the Clippers by then.
You're
they
right.
might be in San Diego or Las Vegas. Who knows?
You're right. They're gonna be mom and dad elite somewhere else. I mean, it's just pretty interesting seeing how that they gave up that much. Let's shift to the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about Miami and the Celtics.
No, that's going to be Miami is.
I like Miami. I want Miami to win personally. Nothing against the Celtics. I of course, there's always that great Lakers Celtics matchup, but I don't know. I like Jimmy Butler, man. I feel he deserves that appearance. Now, will he win it? Probably not. But I feel he deserves that because Jimmy's the dude. And I watch some of his memes and quotes, and he says a lot of nice quotable shit. Like he said something. He said, I'm never been the fastest. I don't jump the highest.
I seen that.
I didn't, but he said I'm tough. But he said I'm tough as fuck. He said I am tough as fuck, and I'm not afraid of nobody.
He a dog.
And
that's that dog mentality.
Well,
that's
exactly.
the thing. You cannot teach the it factor.
Yeah.
You can't teach somebody heart. Is either you got it or you
exactly.
don't.
And he
right?
proven it. I remember when he got into it with when he was with the Bulls, he got into it with Nene. Remember that? Nene ain't a little dude. That's like a 7 foot, and he grabbed him like by the head, and you could see like Jimmy was like, "What's up? Like, let's do it." Like I was like a guy like that. I'm like,
It's
man,
just that he's a grimy player. He's not afraid to get in there.
And he just plays hard, man.
Play some defense.
It's like, as a coach and from a coaching perspective, if I got a kid like that, I want him.
Yeah.
I wish him all the success that he can do. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think Lakers Miami is a great series. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, either way, we gonna get our 17th banner. So
here we go.
I'm just saying, the Clippers are out of it. So I'm just saying.
My man, Clippers, y'all got me looking real. Whatever. I'm just gonna move on because, like I said, we can talk about that all night. On the flip side of it, for AAU, in our area, Hardwood Palace opened back up. So definitely want to give a shout out to Steve and the work they did this weekend. I think they did an amazing job. They only have they have 8 courts total. They only had 4 courts playing at a time.
Oh, okay.
So it was a lot of space in between. A lot of people keeping distancing. Their masks were on. They did their protocols. It was done really well, and no fights. Wasn't a lot of cheating going on. A little bit of cheating, but not a lot of cheating, right? So that's why I told you the difference with like courtside and hardwood, man. They make things very smooth. And so, hopefully that continues. But just wanted to say great job to Hardwood. Football's back. So, I'm a football fan. I don't know if you guys are football fans, but I happen to watch it every now and then. I'm a Raiders fan. Let's just put it like that. I'm a Raiders fan.
Okay.
Even though we're not in Oakland anymore. But and so it's been fun watching that. But the more exciting thing to me is college basketball is back.
Yes.
November 25th.
Super excited.
What's your college team? I never asked you.
Because I'm from San Diego, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen the whole San Diego State Kawhi Leonard thing when I was out there. So
nice.
if I had to pick somebody that I always, check on my phone how they're doing, it's usually San Diego State.
All
so.
right. What about you? You got one beside, whatever
You know
daughter,
I'm gonna go with
UNLV,
UNLV,
yeah,
right?
of course.
Lady Rebels, what?
Exactly. No, I'm a Cal guy.
Okay.
I've always been a Cal guy. My boy, when Poe was there, I was definitely at the games when Poe was there.
Yeah.
So I've always been a Cal guy. But no, I'm glad college basketball is back. I love the NBA, I do, but I really like college basketball.
Yeah.
As far as watching it, I rather watch more college ball than NBA ball. For me, I'll turn NBA on one TV and watch college on another TV. Quite honestly, I turn the NBA on just to help with the ratings because I'm just trying to support the brothers. Like here, I'll turn that on, but I'll actually watch college because to me, as a coach, I learn so much watching these guys and how strategic they are. Because the reality is, I'm trying to prepare my kids for that. Now, if they happen to make it to the NBA, more power to them. But I'm not preparing my kids for the league. Yeah. I'm trying to prepare them for college. So I learn a lot watching those guys.
I think there's also like a lot more level of skill that's demonstrated when you're watching college basketball opposed to professional. It's kind of like,
I just think those kids, they're hungry. You know what I mean? Because they're all fighting for something. They're trying to get to the league.
It's a lot more exciting.
Because in the league, especially regular season, as we know, and that's been the big debate, with load management and stuff, there are times these teams are just kind of coasting. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't play with that desperation anymore. And it's hard. I can never imagine even myself as an NBA coach, only because you are literally telling millionaires to want to play basketball. I mean, it's hard, you know what I mean? Like it's not X's and O's, it's more managing personalities. And at the end of the day, they're millionaires. I mean, a lot of them are, at least thousandaires, right? They're like, dude, I make, 10 million a year, 20 million a year. I don't give a fuck what you're telling me about. Dive on the floor for a ball. Like, you kiss my ass. All right, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't imagine me in that situation.
Because they work so hard to get there, right?
Yeah, they
would think that, they could be cut too.
Well, it's really once they get past that rookie contract. They get past that rookie
That's
contract.
why I
They
said
coasting.
that's why there's only a few Kobe's and Mike's out
They
there.
coasting. They like, shit, I'm good. I secured the bag. Yeah.
If you really love the game, there's no coasting.
And the only last NBA thing is that I want to talk about while it's on my mind too is old boy that got caught with the girl. I forgot his name.
Dude from Houston?
Yeah.
House?
Yeah. Come on, brother. All I can tell you, bro, is look, man.
You heard his team.
Yeah. Bro. Like, I heard his wife like deleted all the pictures of him on Instagram.
Wow.
I think they showed the picture of the girl he like
he was
snuck
married
in with.
too?
Yeah, he's married. He's married. She
stay
deleted
prayed
it,
up,
and
fellas.
I was like,
But that's like the dumbest shit
Fast and
ever.
pray.
right,
Fast
okay,
and
but
pray.
let's keep it 100. Like, yes,
Okay.
NBA players get it in. NBA players
Yeah.
cheat. I'm not like
I don't think
college
all
ball
of them
player.
do, but
I didn't say all of them, but as a man, I can speak on this a little
Right.
bit. Like, I know.
I can see why though. As a woman,
right.
looking like I try to put myself in their shoes. Like when you really think about it, you know, you're Kobe Bryant. Do you know how many draws are thrown at him? Like,
Yeah.
come on, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
as his wife, I'm sure you know there are times where she's just like, dang, you know.
Well,
you
Vanessa definitely know he cheated.
Once you married, like, there's a lot of not Kobe Bryants that get
Right.
draws thrown on them instead of ducking. They, you know, they catching frisbee.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just
It's tough, and I
It's
get it.
tough
But,
for a
but
man.
what
I
I'm
get
saying
it.
is, doing this at the bubble has got to be an all-time
That's the
dumbest shit ever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you do it. Like, be real. And in case y'all really want to talk about it, yeah, I know plenty. I've met plenty of NBA dudes. Like, when I was a bartender in Chicago for the Chicago, I mean, they come to the club with their little jump offs and they
Yeah.
do their thing on the road and all that. Like, that happens. That just fucking happens. If you don't like it, sorry, it does. Magic Johnson and the Showtime Lakers were notoriously known for being cokeheads and whores. Like, that's just what they did.
That's why it's important for these young women. When you asked me earlier about the end goal for my daughters, when I said women of sophistication,
I
women
get
of
it.
substance, right?
Nah, you got
That's where
daughters.
it
I get it.
starts.
And
So
again,
there are more women that have morals and values and self-respect and have respect for the sanctuary of marriage. Then a lot of those things, I'm not giving a pass to men, right? But
No.
men are men. Let's be real. Biologically, it's just it's different for a man
Yeah.
than it is for a woman.
Right.
I had to learn that.
Yeah.
You know, like, wow, men y'all can do that and I love somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can. It's like, what? No.
Yeah.
Dang, that's cold. But it's real. And I you know, it's just like, ladies, come on. You know what I mean? Have respect for each other, have respect for yourself.
But
and
how's
for the
that?
sanctuary of marriage.
How's literally just, I mean, that's got to be one of the most all-time dumbest
Right.
moves.
Poor guy.
He must have been really fiending this.
Yeah, right. Like,
You know what I'm
you
saying?
couldn't just wait a couple. Like, Houston wasn't winning. Like, you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait a couple more weeks. You'd be on the first flight and just, you know what I mean. But
Clearly
hey,
not,
whatever.
Chris.
Yeah, barely not. All right. So, couple funny things, funny events. The refs were real rusty at Hardwood. So, you know, refs, shout out to you guys. I know you have a hard job. I know you're working hard. But you could definitely see the rust with some of these refs. They were like, they weren't getting up and down court as quick.
Yeah.
They were
That's
missing
that
some
COVID.
calls. Yeah, some of them, for the ones who weren't at
Chilling.
court side, they were either just doing hardwood. They were just, they were definitely a little rusty. And I just kind of had to laugh and poke a little fun at that. But overall, no, I feel they did a good job, at least for the refs in my games. I think they were really good, communicating well. You could tell they were enjoying it, right? Like, they were happy to be back. You know what I mean? Not just for the money. I don't think refs make $1 million in them, but you could tell they enjoyed what they were doing. So it was just good to see them again. The only other funny event I have to say, so I played my 8th grade group. That's the one you recorded. In a freshman bracket. They won, which was
I seen
great.
that on your story.
Yeah, they were a good ass group. And but a team I saw playing, the Sac Titans, had a sophomore on their team. And this is the freshman lowest bracket. So, because I did play them up, but it was like the freshman white bracket. So, maybe not the lowest. It was like a mid bracket. And they had this sophomore who I know is a sophomore because he played against my older team, right? He might even be a junior. I don't know, but I think he's a sophomore. But he's like really big and I mean physically just beyond all the other kids. And this coach had him playing. That's where I say where there was a little bit of cheating at Hardwood. So. You know, Sac Titans, you got your wins today. I'm happy for you.
Disadvantage though for that young man.
I mean, yeah, that's what I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Like the kids just want to play, but this is where I'm going to speak to the kids. you guys as kids, especially to me, if by high school level,
Yeah.
if you're not willing to challenge yourself,
Yep.
like if you know I'm a sophomore, I'm physically bigger and I'm playing in this freshman lower bracket, you should at least as a basketball player look at yourself and go, you know what, I'm cool. Like, nah, coach, I'm good.
One of the things that my kid's father and I did when they were playing AU and for the Stockton Mustangs, he had different levels, obviously, of girls that played. And to that point, one of the things we told the girls was like, we don't want you going against the softest. When you're doing the drills, you go against the fastest girl, the toughest girl. And it's amazing because as it builds their confidence. And like for Nia, I just remember, she's just, like I said, she's just spicy naturally, but it really helped her to the point where when she got to high school and she had to play, the Sac Highs or Ponderosa or whatever, there was no fear there. Because she, at an early age, we're like, no, you're going to go against the best girl. And we always had them play up. We always wanted them to get better.
Good.
And I think that's important. Parents need to do that. Coaches need to do that because it's a disadvantage
Yeah.
for the kids, right? You're not challenging them when you do stuff like that.
No, I get it. Well, then, go ahead, Mark.
No, because I was going to speak on that. What you were saying is what I do sometimes, too, is some of my girls that I train, because I have a lot of boys, but I'm starting to get more girls, is I'll throw them in sometimes, let them hoop with the guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I got
good.
a couple 8th graders, 9th graders, and I know that, just coming from a skill set and at the same time what you're saying, the confidence, if you're around guys a lot and, they're, you know how guys are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let a girl score on me and
Right.
But
I know it all too
yeah,
well.
Yeah. But
What are you doing here?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
exactly. But to me, I kind of use that, especially for some of my
Yeah.
girls, know that the stuff that we work on, if you're able to at least try to work on it against these guys, when you go back to the girls your age,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's a whole different type of speed and, everything like that.
That was
So,
my generation.
Yeah.
There was no AAU.
Yeah, you guys
Like basketball camp,
Yeah.
you went to the park, you were playing
Yeah.
against
Yup.
the dudes,
Yup.
you know what I
Yup.
mean? And by the time you got to high school, you're just like, you can't catch that pass. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Oh my God,
Exactly.
coach, no.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
yeah, you throw them in the mix.
Yeah, yeah.
Throw 'em with the
Yup.
fellas.
That's good. Let's see. So I want to talk, respectfully disrespectful. Just in our conversation and just talking in general. I know your daughters call a little bit of shit sometimes, and this is just speaking on the fact that they're mixed, and they're light skinned with good hair and all that kind of shit, and so right, exactly, and being female hoopers, there is this there is a culture there, whether female hoopers want to admit it or not, of you need to be the better hoopers need to be more butch and more manly and stuff, and your daughters kind of break that norm in terms of they celebrate their femininity, but at the same time there's some dogs on the court, right? And so I kind of wanted you to speak a little bit about that, because again, these are kind of just so you guys understand, for the respectfully disrespectful, these are kind of unspoken things people don't want to talk about. Just like the cheating in AAU, the bias of referees,
Yeah.
the money stuff. This is the stuff we want to act like doesn't exist. And I mean, the reality is I'm mixed and light skinned, and I caught shit in Oakland all the time.
All the time. Both sides.
Like, and exactly on both sides. So it's like, I know that's very prevalent with women's basketball and girls too. And I just kind of wanted you to talk about that, or how that.
I mean, I caught it, and that, so it's been around for a long time. For the girls, first and foremost, I just want to say, when I mentioned good hair, one of the things I taught my daughters is that good is how you perceive it, right? And so for me, it's like, embrace your culture, embrace who you are, regardless wherever you go. And we did catch a lot of flack, and it was more so like, when you got to go in, you got to play the grass in the old parks. It's like, hold on, though. Southside, hey, hold on.
Right.
My daughters might not be, but they mama is.
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? So that's a time where
Right.
I'd be like, we got this. Let me handle it. Let their dad handle it. If anything pops off, we right here. But so I think that, when they would catch it, I had those mommy moments. I was that mama stand up like, well, hold on. You talking about them two twins? They ain't twins, but
Right.
everybody thought they were. You talking about the Johnson sisters? Oh, no. So it got to the point where it was like, oh shit, they mom's crazy, you know? Yeah. I'm that one.
Okay.
Hella
That's good.
spicy
like
and
that.
won't back down. Like, no.
And then on
So we taught the girls, like, listen, let your work speak for itself.
right.
You know what I mean? Because the thing about it though too is like sometimes like I'm naturally aggressive and I know my daughter is naturally aggressive and I see a lot of me in my child. So like when we were playing the sack highs, you know, I would hear the girls, you know, like bitch, you know, or whatever, and you know, swinging their braids at her, and I just remember seeing Nia's face on the sideline. She's looking at me like, ma, and I'm like, nah, because they knew that she was aggressive. They knew like if I could get in here. So we not only prepared the girls physically but mentally, because we already know like, hey, listen, I caught it, your dad caught it, so you're gonna catch it. It's just inevitable, right?
Yeah.
And so we made sure that when they had those moments that they're confident in who they are. You don't have to prove yourself to nobody,
Right.
you know, and you let your work speak for itself. You show them on the court, and sure enough, when we play Zaga, I'm looking right at the camera. When we play Zaga, yeah, we got that dub. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And they fouled out one of my daughters.
Okay.
And I just never will forget that game because my daughter looked over me. I was like, hey, it's takeover time.
Nice.
Like, hey, you know what I mean? We had this little hashtag mama mentality. It's like, hey, what's good? Like, we gonna win or what? You gonna sit there? You gonna like, no, we're not going home like this. And so like we were just always like on the sideline. So, you know, my daughter was like, all right, mom, all right. So I channeled that out, you know, and I just it was just amazing to see that. And so that's how we dealt with it. Like,
Right.
we made sure, like, look, number one, you know who you are. You know what I mean? That's part of the game. I mean, when you look at basketball, you look at men's basketball, I mean, Bill Lambier. I mean, you know, you had the Detroit Pistons. Come on.
Right.
So it's just part of the process. And so, like, just, you know, just be confident in yourself. And
did you ever catch it on, let's say, or they called it going to predominantly white schools?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Especially, like, when they played at Antelope. And we had to play Ponderosa, you know, and they would, you know, we've been caught niggas before. You know what I mean? It's not a great feeling.
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
And your natural inclination as a human being is to defend yourself, right?
Right.
To be like, what? Like,
Right.
what?
Exactly.
It's going down. You know?
Even though,
and once again, Southside Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, listen, when we're from, blades come out when that happens.
Damn.
Like, listen.
Hey,
Shots fired.
Real talk.
There you
I'm
go.
just keeping it 100. Like,
Southside.
that's real.
I like that. I like that.
So, yeah. So we had to be like, listen, you know, it's ignorance, right? And we explained to the girls, like, there's just people do and say things according to how they were brought up or their level of experience, their level of education. So you can't fall into that. You just have to have a provincial mindset when
Nice.
it comes to that and
Okay.
keep your temperance, which is very hard,
Right.
right? And you just beast it out on the court.
Nice.
And that's what they did.
Okay. Well, good.
They still get it.
Wow.
Even when they went to CSUB with their teammates and, you know, and her at UNLV, I prepared her. Like, look, you're not there to be buddies and best friends with your teammates. No. Your job is to play basketball. That's what you're getting paid to do. That's what your stipend is for. That's what you got there for. So it's not about, let me go kick it. Let me go be best friends. Keep your nose clean. You're not there to be buddy. I don't want to see you at every party drinking or something. Nah, no, absolutely not. You work too hard to get there. You got plenty of time for that. So while you're there, your job is to play basketball. And if you feel the need to vent because somebody did you wrong or said something, don't get caught up in that. You call me or you call your dad.
Okay.
Vent to us. You know what I mean? And reset. It's okay to have a reset and self-reflect in those moments. And so we still tell them that.
Good.
Still to this day. Even our youngest daughter, she's just learning that, you
Good.
know, and she's just like, oh my God, Mom. Like, she's, you know, when they're young, they're just oblivious to a lot of things. So she's just like, wait, but I'm black. We know that.
Right,
You know?
right.
They don't know that, but we know that. So it's like just preparing them mentally. Like, you just got to tell your kids. You got to be real with your kids. It's like, look, this is what they're going to call you. So just let us handle it.
All right. Well, let's talk about coaches, parents, and trainers having grudges, right? Because I think your path's interesting because it's kind of like it's kind of the even though it's girls basketball or women's basketball, I should say, it's still kind of the opposite of like when we had Jay here because his son was a role player, right? You know what I mean? He's a glue guy role player. two daughters in particular were star players,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure you've ran across coaches, parents, and like maybe some
Oh, yeah.
trainers and stuff who've held on to some things or felt some type of way. Like,
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
You know what? It's part of the process. And once again, it's really helpful when your parents have experienced that process. You know what I mean? And neither myself or Leland had that. You know, my dad was a phenomenal athlete, may he rest in peace. But my mom, you know, she wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I was the first person to graduate out of college from both sides of my family. Same thing with their dad. So that part of it alone was helpful, because when we had those moments, and yes, we did have those moments where, you know, there's a little hating going on for whatever reasons, you know, from parents, you get side-eyed. It's like,
Right.
wait, what did I do?
Right.
You know, but we have to practice what we preach. You know, and I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Like, that's tough for Ev.
Yeah.
Speaking in third person, because that's how tough it is.
Right.
Because, you know, naturally as a mom, like, you want to protect, right? That mama bear comes out like, hold up, what? But I have to lead by example. And so, you know, Leland and I, we would just kind of like calm the waters together. It was like, did you hear that? Yeah, I heard that. Like, and we would just go huddle.
Right.
Like, how we gonna do this? Like, we literally would just like map it out and make sure that we were leading by example.
Nice.
In front of the girls. And then if it was really dire, like super dire, then I would always be like, Lee, what do you want to do? And if he felt the need to address a coach, he'd run it by me.
Okay.
And he'd literally like verbatim, this is what I'm thinking about saying, what you think? It's like, I'd probably say it like this, you know? And so we've had those instances, you know? I've been ejected early on out of games.
Shit.
You know what I
one of
mean?
those
Like,
moms, all right.
it's so funny because I see those refs now, like, you remember me, I know you remember me, you know?
Right.
And now they see Naomi, I'm like,
Yeah.
let me shut up before you just call a bad call. But yeah, so we you know, I was always taught that when you have an issue with somebody, you go to the source, right? And so that's how we were. So if it was that necessary, I'm going to the source. Rather that be a parent, rather that be a coach, rather that be a ref. We didn't have any issues with refs like that, but you know, I'm going to the source, because a lot of times you don't know if you might be misinterpreting or misunderstanding, whatever the case may be. You go to the source if it was that necessary. Most times it wasn't, but we did have occasions where we did need to go to the source and be like, listen, you know, express yourself, you know, we're off record, talk to me, you know, as grown men and women. And so and I think that because we did it that way, so when we did have those rival games, it was like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm looking at you eye to eye, like, all right.
All right. Good. Well, that's good.
Starting out won't be nothing.
Well, let's talk not a good fit, right? Had an experience today for my 6th grade team. I had a kid who's kind of playing on the top level with me on my elite team, but also playing on the lower level because he's on the lower level of my bench. He didn't get a lot of playing time today because unfortunately we were playing two really good teams, really athletic teams, and he's not necessarily as quick and athletic as the other kids. He's, you know, genetically behind right now, which doesn't mean it won't kick in at some point. But my conversation to you parents is you have to look at the reality of where your kid is. If you're not willing to do that, it's not going to be a good fit. Why put them at the elite level when they're not elite? Why try to keep pushing them higher and higher when it's clear that they're not there? If you are going to put them in that level for the experience, you got to accept the situation they're in, but also, you know, enjoy the moments when they can get in, because that does give them an opportunity of growth. If that's something you can't accept, then parents, please just keep your kid at the level that they belong at. Everybody wants to have the elite jersey. Everybody wants to be a chief. Not everybody wants to be an Indian, but sometimes it's just where you need to be. So please hear me on this for all you parents or anybody listening out there. If you can't accept the level of where your kid is, I mean, truthfully look at it and say, okay, my kid is a C level kid, my kid is a B level kid, my kid is an elite level kid, whatever the case may be, then it's just not a good fit. Because searching for team until you see or hear what you want to hear, it's just idiotic, because they're not going to develop, they're not going to get better, and potential has a shelf life. If they never grab it, it will expire. So remember that next time you think it's not a good fit. So I want to go to our team shout outs. Team Lift, want to give you guys a shout out. Saw you guys perform. Your coach is doing a good job. I wish we had the opportunity to play your 6th grade team this weekend, but I'm sure we'll play each other at some point. Another team that my 17U played was Reno Irish. They're a high school team. I know the guy that runs it. He used to run. He founded Reno Ballers. He doesn't run it anymore. His name's Bill Ballinger. He's like a legendary coach out there in Reno. And his son, I actually coached his son, Court, for me for my elite high school team. We ended up playing against them this weekend for 17U. They did a good job. It was a very good competitive game. So definitely a shout out to you and your team, Bill, because again, you do a phenomenal job. He's been coaching like 37 years, so the guy knows what he's doing. Then we played another team called Top Gun with my 8th grade. Now, we blew them out, but what I really, really like about this coach, he was very positive. The score didn't matter. He just wanted his kids to develop. You could tell, he was frustrated, like, man, they just couldn't keep up with my group. Because, again, I'm assuming they were either 8th grade team playing up or they were a freshman team. And well, especially you, Mark, you've seen my 8th grade team. You see that potential that middle school group has.
Special.
And Muhammad just got on some social media thing. That's my star player. But I like how the Top Gun coach kept staying, with it, kept being positive. I really can appreciate a coach that can ignore the score and just be, satisfied and happy with the growth of the kids because my kids have gotten their ass kicked too, like especially my 6th grade. They're going through it right now. I've been playing them up. They've been getting their butts kicked, and I'm trying to tell the parents, like, this is the process. Please understand, like, I have to put them in these tough situations where, yes, they're going to lose. They might get their asses kicked, but they will develop. Just trust me on that, because eventually the bodies catch up. They learn, they get better, the hunger, the fire builds up because they're tired of losing, right? Of course, I put them in some situations where they're going to see success, where I might play them, instead of the top tier 6th grade division, I might go 1 division down. And, of course, they'll probably dominate or have a good time doing that, because I do want them to see success. But, I get it. As parents, you feel like we're playing this money. You want to see these wins, you want to see these medals, but please try to understand it's a process. You know what I mean? I think that's the hardest part to explain to some parents sometimes. So, Top Gun, if the coach ever hears this, I think you did a great job. So, other than that, I think we're good. You got anything else you want to add, Mark?
No. Well, actually, I just wanted to say thank you for being on the show. A lot of the stuff that you're saying, I'm taking notes because, I have a 4-year-old daughter. I have a 2-year-old son. So listening, coming from a parent who's already going through it, like I said, I'm a person, like, I like to take notes. I'm a student of the game. So when it comes to the family side of it, what I'm saying, I really appreciated a lot of the stuff that you were saying. So make sure my wife is listening with me too.
So splash for you. There you go. That's for you. Because we appreciate we appreciate what you're doing. And then for your daughters, they some dogs, so I want them to know that.
Yeah, throw them dogs in here. I like the dogs. I like the girly stuff.
No, again, Ev, I do appreciate you coming on the show. And
thank you for having me.
No worries. I just, obviously through us knowing each other and, being friends and just having conversation and watching the progression
debates.
of your
conversation debates, y'all.
Well, debates, that's true. Yeah, we've had plenty of debates. But no, just watching the process of your girls and what you're doing, and I just really thought your perspective would be a good one to hear. Hopefully, again, with the viewership going up, like I told you guys earlier, we hit the 2,200 download mark, and people are still listening. I hope a couple of moms hear you and hear your path and go like, oh, okay, this is how it works, right? And dads too. That'd be great. Like they go like, okay, like she's doing it, she's done this. You know what I mean? This makes sense, because there are a lot of people out there that just they don't know where to start. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to trust, right? They don't. But what I like that you're emphasizing is it starts at home, right? And you talk about that a lot, Mark, too. Like, no matter how much we train, no matter how much we coach, it really comes from the parents first, right? Exactly. It really comes from their inspiration and you guys pushing. So, you know, I'm really glad you're here and was able to share your story, share your truth. All right.
Thank you. I have to bring Nia, Nadia, and Naomi.
Hey,
you know.
Man, I don't think all three of them could fit on the couch.
You know, I don't know though. Naomi's such a slender. Right.
But no, again, thank you for those who are listening. Thank you for those who are supporting. I know me and Mark and Ty, because let me not forget Ty, because he's behind that camera, but y'all have no idea how hard that man works. He sits in this sweaty hot box with us, so he's working his tail off. But no, we really appreciate the support. Hope you keep doing it. I see it growing little by little. We're getting more subscribers on YouTube. We're getting more support. I know I get messaged. I'm pretty sure you get messaged. The Bout That Life gets messaged. Please follow us on social media. Mine is HoopstarIM. You got GGT right here. Ty has his Instagram.
Shout out to that cameraman.
Yes, exactly. He works hard, man, and he does. And Ev, you know, if you want to follow her social media will be in the links as well. This will be all on the YouTube and stuff. I'm actually gonna start putting the links in the audio descriptions as well, so you can link to us if you have any comments or questions. You know, the next step for me that I would like to see maybe in future episodes is maybe we can do some live stuff, right? So we can take questions live and talk to people live. So that's kind of the next step. But, you know, keep supporting us. We want to keep bringing you good content. We love the game. We love basketball. We love AAU. And that's kind of what's binding us all together.
Sir.
I hope everybody has a good day and, you know, enjoy life and enjoy the outdoors while we still have it. And we out.